Hello, spooky friends, and welcome to another episode of Storytime with the Scary-ish podcast.
Woo!
I'm Robin Grace, and this is Adam Diaz, and we're going to read you guys some stories today.
Indeed we are. Also, hello.
Hello.
So those of you who are watching, thank you for joining us live on twitch.tv/scarishpodcast or youtube.com/scarish. Yes, I am wearing my sweater again because it is cold in this room. I'm just saying. However, underneath, I am repping the Bears.
He's like, I'm cold, and I'm like...
She's like, let me put on a dress so I can make you look like a hobo. Thank
No,
you so
I was
much
like,
for that.
Okay, I just bought a dress, and I just got it in the mail today, so I was like, oh, I'll try it on. And we barely had time to change anyway. So
Barely had time. I've been yelling updates like, hey, like we're almost live soon. Shout out to Carly who just
Thank you
resubscribed
so much for subscribing.
for the 6th month in a row. That's half a year Carly has subscribed. Thank you so much. She put heart times 6.
Aww.
So thank you. We really do appreciate
thank
that.
you so much.
For those of you who listen to this in the podcast form, you can always join us to watch these live. We do these Wednesdays at 6:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, which is the West Coast time zone. And if you can go to twitch.tv/scarishpodcast or youtube.com/scarish, you can join us and see stuff like Robin almost knocking something over and putting her hands up to be like, oh my God, that almost happened.
I was making sure that it wasn't like gonna topple over, okay?
Either way, we would appreciate it if you join us. No big deal if you don't. These are always going to come out in podcast form anyways, but it's a fun time. I can already see our stream chat scrolling by with people saying hello and joining us this evening. But like Robin said earlier, we are going to go ahead and read you some homegrown horrors. So Robin, what are homegrown horrors?
So homegrown horrors are your tales of paranormal happenings. Could be spiritual events that have happened to you. Say a relative has come back in like an animal form, which I think is really cool.
We get a lot of dreams when it comes to relatives coming back as well.
Yeah, sleep paralysis,
Bizarre
stuff like that.
coincidences.
Oh, bizarre coincidences. Hilarious coincidences.
Fun stuff that actually wasn't scary, but you were scared shitless at the time. Those are always really good. So if you have any stories like that, or you're listening to any of these stories and it like triggers a memory for you and you're like, triggered, you can email Scary-ish. No. You can email storytime@scary-ish.com.
It's like he's never been here before.
Yeah, you can also go to scary-ish.com, click on contact us, and just fill out that form right there and click submit. It'll send it directly to us. You can also reach us on Facebook, facebook.com/scary-ish-podcast. And then our Twitch, our Twitter is @scary-ish-pod, and our Instagram is @scary-ish-podcast.
Yeah.
And if you want to join us on Discord, if you know what that is, it's like a chat app. Think AOL Instant Messenger if everyone was in the room together, for those of you people who are as old as me.
There were chat rooms back then.
Yes, there were.
Yeah.
I am that old to remember when they started. So it's fun stuff. You could join us by going to scarish.com, scroll down, and on the right-hand side, you'll see links for all of our social medias. Click on the Discord app, and you'll join us. And we are rapidly approaching 200, which is super cool. I've never been part of something before that's that large, unless it was like a tech support Discord.
What?
So, yeah, I honestly don't have a lot of Discord, so it's really fun to interact with everyone that's in there. And for those of you who aren't into any of that stuff, but you want to share it with us, we'll figure out some other way. Don't use a Ouija board, though. We're not dead yet. So.
Yeah.
But those are all the different ways that you can reach out to us, and we really appreciate everything that gets sent to us. Thank you guys so much for just sharing these experiences with us. We really do appreciate it. So I guess without getting too much into like thanking you guys a million times over, we can just jump into a story. So would you like to go first, or do you want me to go first?
Why don't you go first?
I think I will go first. So this first one, I believe, was sent to us on Facebook, and it's from Emmanuel. And it starts out like this. Hola, muchachos.
Hola.
Hola. Long time no read. I have another story for you. It's more strange than scary, but I still want to hear your opinion on this.
Is it stranger than fiction?
Is it Stranger Things?
No, mine was better.
Yeah, it was. You can share it in the podcast if you want.
Miss Daisy, for
Shout out to Miss
subscribing.
Daisy, who has resubscribed for the 6th month in a row. That is so cool. You guys are the greatest.
Yeah.
And we went to dinner last night with Miss Daisy, also with
It was awesome.
one of our friends, Ralph, who joins us. Ralph is Beast Nerd in the chat. If you see Ralph later, it was Ralph's birthday, and Miss Daisy was what?
It wasn't his birthday.
It was the day after his birthday. It was like a birthday dinner, but we hung out. It was super fun. Thank you, Miss Daisy, for hanging out with us and tolerating our desire. Our, in air quotes, desire to go to a dessert place that had nothing but matcha flavored stuff.
I love matcha. Okay, I love matcha flavored everything, and I love dessert. Yep. And I was just talking to one of our friends today, and I was like, food is the way to my heart. So
Indeed. It's very true. But we had a fun time. So thank you to Miss Daisy for joining us. But I'm going to get back to the story. So we can share this on the podcast. Good thing to know. First thing you have to know is I am very good with faces. I never forget a face, and I can even recognize them years after the first time we met, no matter how much they change.
That's really impressive.
That is really impressive. The
I
following
can't remember
story,
anyone.
She doesn't even remember me. She wakes up, she's like, who are you? I'm like, hey.
It's like 50 First Dates.
And then I remind her who I am. She's like, ugh. Exactly. The following story happened when I was studying my master's at the University of Tamkang in Taipei, which I think I said all that correctly. Probably not, though. We're on the second of the 3-year master course at the College of International Affairs and Strategic Studies back in 2014. That is a very impressive name for a college, I won't lie. The T building, occupied completely by the Department of International Studies, was at the most far and upper corner of the school. Shout out to Zwazzles,
Thank
who
you
just
so much for
resubscribed
subscribing.
for the 4th month. Says, love you guys muchly. Have a good show. Thank you so much for joining us.
you.
If you can't stay, we totally understand. We love you still. Even if you guys aren't here and you join us sometimes and sometimes not, or you never join us, we love all of you.
Yeah.
We really do. So I'll get back to this. So this the T building, far and upper corner of the school. To get there, we had to pass by most of the other departments and a little fully wooden and cute coffee shop located in halfway next to the tallest building of the school, the Department of Economics. Okay, so it's just like a cafe halfway going to this class. Got it. One day I noticed a hole on the deck and floor of the little coffee shop, which closed that day. I tried to make out a shape of it.
So there was a hole.
Yes.
There was a hole. Someone jumped, right? Someone had to have jumped.
I don't know. You're getting way too excited.
Okay,
I tried to make... that's the thing that says, I tried to make out a shape of it because it was very odd to look at, but then the bell rang and I ran for my life trying to make it on time for my next class. Now, when you're saying someone jumped, wouldn't that mean it would be in the shape of a person on the floor, like in Wile E. Coyote and the Roadrunner?
I just imagine, like in Constantine.
Constantine.
Yeah, where she jumps off the top.
She dropped through a
glass window.
Oh, okay. This is
the
a wooden cafe. So I was like, I don't remember a wooden cafe in Constantine, but I see what you're saying. Used to the quietness of the Asian classrooms, I did not notice that precise day, everyone was more quiet than usual. Being friends with the quietest Brazilian guy that ever existed did not help for sure, but it was him who told me that one of our classmates killed herself the previous night by jumping from the roof of the economics department building. So you totally did call that.
Called it.
The hole on the deck and the floor of the little coffee shop came to my head, and after saying a little prayer for that classmate, I went back to my own studying thoughts. The class went by normally until the end, when the teacher talked to us about the situation and invited us to talk to him if we went through his, quote, "if you need to talk" speech twice, both times insistently looking at me.
Wow.
That's weird. We were just like staring at someone the whole time. Like, do you need help? It's like, I feel like I don't, but maybe I do.
I don't know. I'm feeling pretty attacked right now.
Feeling a little bit attacked. I thought it was my imagination, but when I was leaving, some of our classmates whispered something while looking at me as me and my friend from Brazil were leaving the classroom. This is the worst feeling in the world, to see people talking about you and not be able to know what they're talking about. Or another bad feeling is knowing what they're talking about, but they won't say it to your face. You know, like you had some life drama and people like see you and like, whore, So I'm just saying, like, that's a bad thing. Don't do that to people. Wait till they're gone and talk about them behind their back.
Don't.
You knew I was going to say it.
No.
Just joking. When we got to the cafeteria, I felt something was weird, but I did not think appropriate to ask about it. It did not seem appropriate to ask about it. That same night, I talked to one of my classmates who was very affected by the event, and after giving him some encouragement and before saying goodbye to him, he told me that he and everyone were very surprised on how well I was handling the situation. I asked him why, and he said that this person that passed away and I were very close in class. He said we always made jokes together and made fun of each other. I thought he was confusing me with someone else, but that was strange because our class had no more than 10 to 12 students, and my Brazilian friend and I were the only Western-looking people. A couple of weeks later, I mentioned this to my Brazilian friend, his girlfriend, and another friend when we were having lunch together. They looked at each other and told me that that was true. To date, I have no recollection of this person whatsoever. It is not in my memory, and I cannot put together a face out of the descriptions I have heard from my friends and classmates. My mother said that maybe that was the way I was coping with it, but it seemed impossible to me to not remember a face, a talk, or a moment with this person. I never forget faces.
It's like that episode of Buffy.
Everything's an episode of Buffy. I knew there was going to be a Buffy or a Supernatural reference here.
It's like an episode of Buffy where this one person in high school, like no one cared that they existed. So eventually they started to disappear and became like literally invisible.
Okay.
And
I don't really remember that one, but
really? We can watch the whole thing all over again.
Awesome. That's exactly what I'm looking for. It ends with this. How did this happen? Anyways, thank you for reading my story. I love your podcast. You know it, and I never miss an episode. Thank you for being such an amazing couple, Emmanuel. Well, thank you for sending that in, Emmanuel. That was really good. It's really heartfelt. And I honestly thought you were going to say near the end of it that, like, the Brazilian friend that said, like, someone took their own life was the person who took their own life and that they had spoken to you.
No, it's not Sixth Sense, okay?
I would have rather that have been the case than people tell you, like, no, you guys were really good friends. Like, you used to talk to this person all the time. Like, that's just, like, a hard thing to hear where it's like, I do not remember this person.
Maybe it's Mandela effect
at all.
type thing.
I don't know about Mandela effect, but you might be right. It might have been your way of, like, coping with it was to just kind of forget the person, which is also incredibly sad.
Yeah.
So thank you for sharing that with us. We do really appreciate it.
Guys, if you ever feel like you need to take your own life, please, like, reach out to someone. Don't, like, think that you're alone. There are people out there that you can talk to and stuff like that.
Yeah, everyone gets very low, and if you feel isolated or alone, there's always people out there to talk to, and we do post stuff like that on a lot of our social medias, like different prevention hotlines that you can reach out to. And I know a lot of people think, like, I don't want to be talked to like I'm crazy, but a lot of times they just ask you, like, what do you want to talk about today? Yeah. And it's totally up to you. If you're just looking to have a conversation, like, that's just kind of what they do. It's what their specialty is, really. It's why they're on those hotlines. So
this next email is titled, Did I Just Hear That? Did
I hear that? It's almost like Steve Urkel.
So it goes, this was typed on a phone. Wasn't sure how it'll look on a bigger screen email. It looks just the same as any other email.
It has been reformatted. It looked terrible when it was sent in. I can assure you.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Oh, okay. Hey guys, it's Ron again. There's like 2 other Ronalds in the Scariest family, so I'm the one with sleep paralysis / nightmares saving pup stories.
Okay, now we know which Ron we're talking about.
From,
here.
I believe, the 3rd live episode. Okay, that makes sense. So,
episode like 28. I can't remember exactly which story time it was, but I think it was the 3rd live episode was right around that. So
okay. Anyway, loving the podcast. It kind of sucks how even though there's multiple episodes a week, it's not enough. I'm glad you feel that way because it's
very nice to hear.
It's very nice to hear. Sometimes we're like, man, no one cares. But,
I feel like that a lot. I'm not gonna lie. I know there's a lot of people listening, and you guys reach out to us a lot. You're a very active community. But when depression takes hold, it's just like, man, no one cares about anything I do right now.
Yeah.
So
you'll get through it.
I'm okay. I don't need a 2-tapper. I hate you so much.
I have 2 short stories again, this time audio ones. Before I start, I've noticed that sometimes I hear my phone ringing. I check my phone and it's not ringing, almost like the ringtone's playing in my head and I'm not 100% sure if it's real or not.
Phantom rings is what I call them.
Oh, really?
I get it sometimes too, yeah. I used to get phantom vibrations more than anything else, but I sometimes think my phone is ringing and then I look at it and, like, there's nothing. I'm like, is someone else's phone ringing? And then everyone's like, nope, you're just crazy, bro. And I'm like, okay, I'll stop talking.
Remember back in the day when there weren't smartphones, so you just kept your cell phone in your pocket and you never looked at it, and that's why you always got, like, the phantom vibrations, because now people always have them in their phone, so if someone's calling you, you're usually just looking at it.
That does make sense, because, like, I think phantom vibrations happened to me more in high school.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, my junior year was right when they're like, I guess you can start carrying phones in high school, because until then, if you carried a phone, you were a drug dealer. Like, that's how teachers treated you. Like, only kids that have cell phones, the only kids who have enough money to afford that are drug dealers or pagers.
I had a BlackBerry, and I had to put it on, like, a lanyard because I kept losing it. And my mom says if I lose my phone again, I'd be, like,
you had a BlackBerry
punished.
On a lanyard. Did you walk around school with a BlackBerry on a lanyard?
Yeah, it was, like, this big. This big.
No one can see that.
Like it was like medium. One of those, kind of like those Sony Ericsson phones. You remember those? Yeah, it was like that size.
Cell phone on a lanyard. That's the first time I've ever heard of that. So
yeah, I'm very forgetful. Anyways, continuing on. First story, a little background. My job is house cleaning, so I visit many homes. Some feel welcoming, others are normal / neutral, and some are just creepy. This story happened in an upstairs where I was vacuuming while listening to the podcast with my headphones on. Oh, man.
I feel like we're just prepping you guys to get freaked out about shit.
One of the perks of the job. That's awesome. I can listen to...
I also record incantations that summon demons, and I just turn the volume really low. Yeah, it's like subliminal messaging. So you might actually, like, if you have your earbuds in, be like saying it, like lipping the words, and then it's just bringing things to you. I'm totally kidding, but now that I'm thinking about that...
Don't do it.
That's a good episode of Supernatural right there.
Oh,
Asshole podcast host. Yeah. I get shot in the face with, like, salt buckshot really quickly from Dean or something like that.
I believe it. So, I can listen to you guys, which sucks because I run out of episodes in a day. So either I save and not listen for a while or go back to the beginning. So back to the story. I was vacuuming and I don't remember which episode I was listening to, but while Robin was talking, I heard laughing. That's creepy.
I was going to say, I don't think I've ever... I do some things sometimes where I, like, put in sound effects.
Yeah.
It is not very frequent. But usually when I do it, it's something like that's really specific to the story where it's like footsteps or whispering, but I don't think I've ever done laughing.
Remember that video that Rothman posted?
Yes.
In the Facebook group?
That one was really funny.
Oh my goodness.
Describe it.
My friend posted a video in our Facebook group, and it was like, if you listen to this episode at this point, there's like somebody else laughing or something like that. Like there's a third voice.
It was like there's a ghost in the audio.
Yeah, and so it makes you like listen. You know what I mean? You're paying attention, but
You're
it's
looking
like
very closely as well.
you're looking very closely to the screen. You're listening to it, and then it like does like digital that like hacker type looking stuff where it looks like something is gonna pop out and scare you. So I freaked out when I first watched it, and I had to just turn my phone over and like left it. I was like, I don't want to see whatever it is.
I watched it on the other hand, and it flashes a picture of Zaboomafoo really fast, and then it starts making like creepy noises like it's actually like a ghost, and then it flashes a picture of my profile picture for my Facebook, which is a picture when I was in Japan. I had an owl on my shoulder that like got spooked at something because we went to an owl cafe, and the owl like looked at something across the room and had like really wide eyes, so I looked that way too and have really wide eyes, and that's my profile picture.
Yeah.
And he photoshopped out the owl and put Zaboomafoo on my shoulder, and I was laughing so hard. It was the funniest thing I had seen in just months. I was cackling madly, and I asked her like, did you see that video? She's like, no, I got too scared. And I was like, no, watch it. It's hysterical.
Yeah. So kudos to you, Rothman, for doing such a good job. You got to make another one of those soon.
So let's get back to the story.
Anyway, I was not alone. One more person was with me, but they didn't even react. I was the only one who heard that evil laughter because it did not sound happy, but malicious. I was pretty creeped out and said, nope, took off my headphones and tried to distract myself with work. I kept looking at my surroundings, but thankfully I didn't hear it again. Every time I go back to that house, I get the creeps, but so far nothing has happened. That's a good thing.
That is a good thing.
I would have freaked out. I would have like talked to the person that was with me like, dude, I just heard something.
It's like, I know you didn't hear anything, but I heard something.
Yeah.
Something is there. Like, you need to take this seriously.
Especially if it felt creepy. You know what I mean?
I think things will feel creepy if you think they're there, but I mean, just to be safe, you need to be aware something's around you, because if it's laughing, that's nefarious. And even if it's a child that you don't know is there, they're planning something. They're plotting. I talked about it the last episode. 5-year-olds, evil creatures. Just saying.
Oh my goodness. Okay. The second story happened in a different house. This time it was a basement. Of course it is. It's always, see, attic or basement, creepy places, just saying. It was, the first one was upstairs, second one's in the basement. Weird stuff happens. I was again listening to the podcast, and I heard a noise, kind of like a set of keys moving around. The basement is as follows: 2 small rooms separated by a wall. Half is the owner's wood workshop, so he makes a lot of things. It's dark and creepy, to be honest, and pretty messy. The other half is like a small office: desk, couch, TV, treadmill, and shelves with like 100 pictures of the family. It feels like eyes are everywhere.
When there's a lot of pictures, I was
Yeah.
going to say, when there's a lot of pictures, that gets a little bit creepy. It's not shrine-like. It just really feels like you're being watched.
Yeah.
There's a really good line from the movie Goodfellas when someone's robbing a house. It might not be Goodfellas. It might be Casino. I forget which one it is. It's Joe Pesci. That's what I know it is. But he's also narrating. He's like, I used to get so creeped out watching these people's pictures, or seeing these people's pictures when I was robbing their house. I turned their fucking pictures around so they couldn't look at me.
Really?
Yeah, and that was like his signatures. He turned people's family photographs around while he was robbing their home.
Wow.
So like, I always think of that whenever I see a bunch of pictures in a room. I'm like, I really want to turn all these pictures around.
Is that the guy from Home Alone?
Yes.
Okay.
That is him.
All right. So
I hope Joe Pesci listens and he's like, I'm known as the guy from Home Alone. I hate myself.
No, I just saw a commercial. It was an Amazon commercial or something like that, an Alexa commercial. And
It's Google Home,
Is it Google Home?
to be specific.
Okay. So he was watching that Home Alone commercial where Kevin's doing all the stuff in the house for him.
Right.
And then he's sitting there like, guys, my scene's coming up. And it's just him in the van outside the house going like, we got to get out of here. And that's it. And he's like celebrating, like that's his line. So that's why
That's
I thought
funny.
of
That's
it.
cute.
Because, anyway, continuing on.
Quick side note, because you said continuing on, I just want to interrupt you. Joe Pesci has, I believe, the shortest Oscar acceptance speech in the history of the Oscars.
What did he say?
He said, thank you, it's an honor and a privilege.
Aw.
And he walked away, and he got a standing ovation.
Really?
Yeah. Everyone was just
It's
like,
because everyone's like, yeah, let's get out of here.
Exactly. Like, after party.
The lights got broke, those long fluorescent lights, and he replaced them with new ones, but did not put the covers back up. Okay, so it's like those long tube lights, but it doesn't have like that plastic cover on top of it.
I went to a party one time, and we were going to be in the basement, and my friend, and this is Joe, my friend was like, guys, listen, we can't throw shit around. We can't swing stuff around. I can't break another fluorescent light. My dad told me if we break another fluorescent light, he's going to beat my ass, because it happened every time we had a party. And 10 minutes later, Joe was swinging something around like a sword, and he shattered 2 fluorescent lights, and he just stood there, and he was just like, no! And we laughed so hard. So it was like, you just gave us a speech not to do that, and then you did it. It was so funny.
Wow.
Go ahead and get back to it. I'm sorry to interrupt the story again.
Alrighty. So it's a basement, so the lights go in between the ceiling. So now you can kind of see in between the basement ceiling and then just darkness. In other words, it's not the creepiest one, but it is creepy as fuck. I heard the keys moving. I paused the podcast to make sure that I heard it. I hear it a second time, so now I'm positive that I heard something, and it's not the podcast because they paused the podcast, right?
Again, though, listening to our podcast, subliminal demon messages.
Shut up! Don't you dare ever do that. I'm getting a little bit scared, but thanks to Adam and his angry fight reflex,
it works, man.
I try to calm myself and focus. The noise is on the other side of the room in the wood building area. The door that's separating the rooms doesn't have a doorknob, so you can see through the hole. Oh, no. That's just like asking to see something horrible on the other side.
It's like that suspicion when we did the superstitious episode where it's like you don't look through a keyhole because the devil will poke you in the eye and make you go crazy. Like that's what I thought of as soon as he said you could see through the hole.
Just put doorknobs in because I can't. It's so scary because like what if you see something like walk across?
I would imagine you'd see an eye like looking at you and then you poke it in the eye and you're like, yeah!
And you're that demon.
Then they're like, it's the devil.
Yeah.
The ghost is like so upset.
Okay, so I stare at the hole. Okay.
That's a weird sentence to jump back into.
I stare at the hole and I don't take my eyes off. I hear more noise, enough to be barely noticed, but loud enough to catch my attention. Since it's not in my head, I walk slowly to the stairs because just in case I see an eye or some messed up thing. I'm running out of there. I see something pass through the hole twice. I fucking told you. Oh, that's why it's horrible. I see something pass through the hole twice, and finally the door pushes open. It was the owner who made 0 attempts to let me know he arrived.
That's
what?
So funny. I like that you didn't just say, like, hello, is anyone there? Like, you immediately went to, like, I'm getting the fudge out of here. And the owner's just like, where are you going? Like, that's just so funny.
Oh, my gosh. I think that's absolutely hilarious. Okay. He did not say hi or talk to me to realize it was him all along. So the moral of the story is, yo, dog, calm your titties.
That's hilarious.
Things aren't always what they seem. Unless they are, then nope the fuck out. You guys are the absolute best, always making me laugh and making work less boring and stressful. By the time you guys read this, it'll probably be 2019.
Yeah, it's a month into 2019, bro.
So happy new year. Wish you both an amazing year. Keep up the awesome work. You guys are the best. Lots of love from New York. Thank you so much. That's really hilarious. I hope you're not freezing in New York.
That's just, oh man, that's just so funny. And that's the thing too. You have to be rational about it. So it's like the best thing to do is like stay calm and just try and like treat it as if it were a person. But, you know, I think we've all been conditioned from seeing a lot of movies, especially scary movies, where you're like, but if you say something, the demon will know you were there, you know?
Yeah.
And so you're just like thinking that you have to be quiet and sneaky. And I think in a lot of situations, like it could very well be 2 people that are really scared of what's on the other side of the door, not realizing that the other person is really just their demon in the first place.
Yeah.
Or just a person who has absolutely no idea, who's oblivious to the fact that they're scaring the shit out of someone just by existing and going about their normal business. So I don't know. That was really funny, though. I really appreciate that one.
Yeah.
So good stuff.
Cool.
So I'm going to go ahead and move on to my second email of the night, or I guess daytime, depending on when you're listening to this. And this subject is website submission. I usually leave those out, but for some reason I decided to read them this time, which was really fun for me. So I hope you enjoyed it as well.
Okay.
This came in. This wasn't our first. Actually, this was our second, but this was the first week we had the website submissions up. This came in during that week, and it's just exciting to finally read these because they're in this nice format where it's like coming straight from the website in a form where I don't have to worry about like anything being like out of order. So it's super cool. Thank you folks that use that.
Nice.
The subject is The Change, which is kind of a creepy subject. I won't lie.
They get possessed.
So it says, hello, Robin and Adam.
Hello.
Hello. My name is William. I'm 19 and I live in southern Sweden, although
Oh,
I used to
wow.
live in Russia next to Moscow.
That's cool.
In parentheses, no, I didn't live with bears on unicycles and I didn't drink vodka. There's not a lot
Is
I
that a
know.
thing?
There's not a lot I know about Russia, but it sounds like you were doing it wrong because that's what you need to do when you're in Russia.
I've never heard of that being a thing of people living with bears. And...
It's a joke. The bear on a unicycle.
Yeah, what is
a
that?
Joke. It's just like something that you'd see in like I don't think it's a Russian circus. I can't remember exactly.
Oh, okay.
But the vodka thing is definitely a Russian thing because that's their drink. That's what they make.
Okay.
Someone also mentioned in the Scary Spooky Friends group, I can't speak today, that they're going to reopen the investigation for the Dilatov Pass incident. Did you notice that?
What?
Yeah, and then someone else commented on that, and they're like, Putin listens to Scariest. So shout out to my boy Vlad. What's up, bro?
No.
What? I can say hi. So, okay, I'm going back to this email.
He's going to shut us down.
Please don't. I've been listening to you beautiful people since episode 23. You guys do a great job, so keep it up. Thank you very much. So first of all, I have plenty of stories that I'd like to share, but I'll start with something not so scary. Sorry if it's a bit long. Never apologize. We appreciate the long ones.
Did you know they're selling tickets to Mickey's Not So Scary Halloween party at Disney World already?
I did not know.
It's February.
Yeah, I get it. It's really, really, really early.
Super early. Sorry.
It's 8 months in advance.
I know. I want them to start selling to Disneyland ones.
That's like how early you start shopping for Christmas gifts.
No,
so.
I start in August.
Yeah, so that's no. In
July?
August is when she has her first freak out that we don't have enough stuff for Christmas yet. So it's definitely earlier than that. But I'm going to get back to this email. Let me start by telling you about my girlfriend. She used to be, oh my God, she used to be a really sweet person. She'd come over and watch movies with me. We'd be playing games. Sometimes we'd even go out and eat together. She was a caring person, a shy one, but super kind and fun, in parentheses, just like you guys. Thank you very much. But one day, that changed. We planned a romantic trip to London, and eventually the time finally came. We planned to take the taxi from Gothenburg to Heisenberg, then get on the cruiser to England. But on the way to Heisenberg, I think I'm saying that right. I might be getting that wrong. It might be Helsingborg. It's going to be one of those words with an H. So one of those three things, that's the thing.
Helsingborg?
The taxi made a frontal collision with another car on the highway. The other car somehow took off into the air over the fence from the other side and crashed into us. I heard later that the taxi driver was fine right after the crash. I guess he was super lucky. My girlfriend and I, however,
No, I don't like where this is going.
This is very sad, so just strap in because it looks like we got more going on this email. It's going to describe what happened. So, I got into the hospital where I was rigged up with full body metal support because I basically broke everything except my left leg. My eyes didn't even get chance. The force from the crash made my eyes get filled with blood and I was temporarily blind.
What?
I thought my girlfriend was better off than me because I could feel her touching my hand and say, "Get up soon." But when my eyes got better and I could look around, I could only hear her say that. I guess the nurses moved her into the nearby room.
Oh my goodness.
So, well, at least you had something saying that to you, regardless of whether or not it was your girlfriend.
But it's like, oh my gosh.
Or maybe
scared.
it was like a mental thing where she was saying it or thinking it and you could hear it.
I'm just freaking out right now. I don't like where this is going.
Half a year later, I could start to roam around the hospital in a wheelchair
a year later?
While the rest of my body healed. But I didn't see my girlfriend anywhere, so I thought maybe they moved her somewhere else. Her parents and mine came and gave us flowers, but since she wasn't around, I asked the nurse to leave it in her room. When we got home, she became angry. I'm very curious as to where she was during this time in the hospital, too, so it's weird we skipped over that. I don't know why, but she was pissed. Some days she'd slap me in the back of my neck and run away. I don't see her often nowadays, just from afar and in the corner of my eyes. I guess I don't see her anymore. I would feel and hear her, that's it. Last night we slept together after watching a movie, but I woke up later feeling her getting up and walking into the other bedroom and closed the door behind her.
Dude, no, is this a ghost?
It was really warm, so I was really warm that night, so I understand her leaving my room. Later I heard her singing the Lure song. If you don't know what it is, here's a YouTube link. I don't know what it is. I can't click it right now, but I'm going to listen to that afterwards.
I don't like where this is going.
Creepy, I thought, looking at the clock on my wall. 3:07 was what it said. Right after she stopped singing, a dark figure stormed into my room and slapped me right across the face.
Nope.
I got both scared and angry at the same time because the slap was so loud it echoed all around my house.
Big ol' nope.
Assuming it was my girlfriend, I yelled into the darkness, "What the F are you doing? Are you crazy?" I didn't get an answer, realizing the figure was gone. The morning after, I was sitting in the kitchen and I heard her walking up to me, so I immediately asked her about it. No answer. Looking back, and I saw what Okay, this is weird. No answer. Looking back, and I saw what I was expecting. No one. I understand for her doing stuff like that sometimes. I was kind of a dick against her the day of the crash. I didn't even get to say sorry. No goodbye either. She died in a crash. So yeah, you were getting that feeling.
Like big ol' nope.
I hope you enjoyed my story. And by the way, I feel her breathing on my neck while writing this. I wonder what she's about to, and that's the end of it. So that's the abrupt ending we were talking about. We were warned there was going to be an abrupt ending. So
he ain't Benamo.
We were warned there's going to be an abrupt ending. One of these, and I was like, I'll probably just make a joke that they died. So yeah, that one was really intense. So I gotta say, it's triggering my skeptical bone because I am very, very skeptical.
But it's a good story.
It is a very good story. It sounds a little bit like a creepypasta.
Yeah.
But if it is 100% true, then that's super, super creepy. And it's just very odd that no one told you that she had passed away.
Seems super creepypasta-y to me.
Yeah, it seems very super creepypasta-y. Also, big shout out to Wings1607 who just donated $10. Says, love you guys.
Keep on creeping.
Thank you. We really, really do appreciate that.
I would make a heart again, but my hands don't work. They don't look right.
All you have to do is if you make a heart at the camera for the peeps, just look over into the monitor and see whether or not it looks right.
But then I'm not even looking at it. I'm looking at that.
And then you just adjust your hands without looking at them. You just need to look at that.
I'm just going to do this.
That works. She made a heart with her fingers in the old way that people used to do it. So here's the thing about this story. I don't want to discourage anyone from sending stuff. So if you have had a traumatic event in your life and you feel like sharing, please do share. That said, getting an email like this that says like straight up like I had this traumatic event, this person died, I see them all the time, they're with me right now, they slap me in the face. Like that is going to make people think like, wow, that's really creepy, or I don't know if I believe that. You know what I mean? And it's not up to us to decide. It is up to the listeners to decide. So we will read those things so that you folks can decide. That said, for those of you who are listening to this right now in podcast form, I'm sure you have your own opinions. Feel free to share those with us on social media.
Yeah.
We really do encourage you, especially in Discord, because there's usually a lot of conversation. We have a channel called Episode Discussion where people can tell us what they think of stuff. Certain people like give us feedback on the topic episodes. But what's really cool about recording this episode live is right now I get to turn to Stream Chat and see what the people watching us right now have to say about this story we just read. And for those of you who aren't with us live, who are listening to this in the podcast version, you can't do that sort of instant feedback thing.
Yeah, so if you guys want to join us for live shows, do it.
It's the perfect opportunity. This is the best example for it. So I am going to go ahead and mark this, and then Robin's going to have an awesome transition. You won't even know we took a break for however long it takes to talk to the Stream Chat people to see what they had to say. But I am going to take that break right meow.
And to the next email we're going to read is titled The Haunting of Apartment 108.
That's pretty good. That's a really good title, by the way. Good subject.
It sounds like a movie title.
It does.
Hey, Adam and Robin. Hello.
Hello.
My name is Erica, and I just discovered your podcast a little over a month ago, and I love it.
I hope this is Erica in chat. I love it when we get to read a story for people when they're actually watching the show.
Yeah, I like that, too.
We will find out. However, keep going. I'm sorry. Sorry for interrupting.
Now I have You Will Be Loved stuck in my head. Or She Will Be Loved. Dang it.
I have sucking on my titties like she wanted me to stuck in my head.
You got to do the...
Sucking on my titties like you wanted me.
Okay, so my name is Erica, and I just discovered your podcast a little over a month ago, so probably like almost a half a year ago. And I love it. I've had an affinity for all things creepy since I was a young teenager. You guys crack me up, and I love the stories. I listen on Spotify while I work. Do you also whistle while you work?
Hey, I knew you were going to say that.
It makes my graveyard shift cleaning the hospital I work in go by so much faster. Yes, I work overnights in a hospital, and yes, I've had several paranormal experiences, but I'll save those for another time. Ooh.
I was going to say, what time is better than now,
right?
Erica? Come on.
You can absolutely use this on the show. In fact, I'd be offended if you didn't. Just kidding. Anyway, on to the spooky shit.
That's a funny line. I'd be offended if you didn't is really good in that.
This takes place from the summer of 2005 till the summer of 2006. I had just moved into a small one-bedroom apartment with my son, who was 3 at the time. It wasn't much, but the location was great, and I could afford it as a single mom.
Do you want to feel old? Oh. That son is now...
18.
18.
Yeah. That's crazy.
Old. You are old if you're listening to this, and you were alive when that son was alive.
Oh, wait. Is it 18?
No, it's not. I didn't want to correct you. 14. It's 14 years, so it's
17.
17. We were close.
Close.
He votes soon. That's what I'm saying, so.
No, for summer of 2005 to 2006, so they are 18.
2005. It's 2019.
2000. Okay.
3 plus 14.
Why don't you just suck my balls? Okay.
I've made this into a word problem for math, and I apologize for that. I just wanted to make people feel old really fast.
What's funny is I helped my classmate, my classmate from last semester, he works with me, and so I was helping him with his statics homework because he's still in statics, and I was able to help him with that because I passed last semester, and now here I can't even do math where it's like 2019 minus 2005
plus 3.
Oh my goodness. Okay. Anyway, so it wasn't a bunch of location, girl, single mom. Okay. So that was a win in my book, which is awesome because being a single mom's hard. Yeah, anything you can get, that's great. Strange things started happening almost immediately. Little things like my keys going missing and showing up in weird places once they were in the freezer. Oh my gosh.
That's funny.
Or the temperature dial on my refrigerator kept getting turned all the way up, so things would freeze in the refrigerator.
That's not funny. That's really annoying,
yeah,
especially if you just
annoying.
bought a bunch of new food.
Yeah, that's super, super annoying. I know this wasn't my son because the fridge handle was broken, so he could not open it on his own. I brushed things off at first, but then maybe a month into living there, it began to get harder to ignore. I began to feel someone standing behind me anytime I was at the bathroom sink. I mean, full on, like made the hair on the back of my neck stand up. It never felt menacing in any way, but still kind of unnerving. A few times...
Maybe it was that guy's girlfriend.
Oh.
I'm not sure if that's a good joke or not, but I think I might leave that in there. That might be offensive, but it also might be hilarious.
A few times I even felt a hand on my shoulder, but of course no one was there. Shit got super real the day I just imagined what Bad Boys 2 or whatever.
Shit just got real.
Shit just got real.
You ain't seen Bad Boys 2.
That's
a Hot Fuzz
so
reference.
Good.
That's Hot Fuzz referencing a movie. So I just did a movie in a movie. You're welcome.
It's Inception.
It's Movieception. Only 2 layers deep, though.
Yeah, but then now we have to. It's another movie reference because
if someone references me referencing Hot Fuzz, referencing Bad Boys 2, that Inception will take hold because it'll be 3 layers deep enough.
Anyway. Shit got super real the day my 3-year-old looked at me and said, "Mommy, who's that man?" Nope. No. Someone posted in the Facebook group an article about things. Kids
That's
saying,
really good.
"Oh man." I thought maybe someone walked by the window, so I looked out and said, and he said, "No, Mommy, right there." And he was pointing to the corner of the living room. I was terrified.
Bird down the house, possibly the kid.
But maintained my cool as to not freak out my son. He didn't seem scared at all, just curious. So for the rest of the time we lived there, this spirit was around and made himself known, but always seemed friendly. I even observed my son talking to him a few times. I have like chills, dude. Like
they always seem friendly at first.
Oh man. Okay. Everything changed once I prepared to move out. Thank goodness my son was staying with his dad while I moved. The energy in the apartment got very heavy. A few times I would leave the room and come back to find a box I had just packed up opened and its contents strewn across the floor. My boyfriend at the time couldn't be in my apartment without having a massive headache. Whoa, that's creepy. Yeah, that's super creepy. A male friend of ours came to help move furniture, and the moment he walked in the door, he got an intense wave of nausea and had to run back out and vomit. He could not physically stand to be in the apartment. My boyfriend had to push the furniture to the door by himself. That's insane.
That is insane.
That's super scary. The most terrifying thing I've saved for last.
Good.
The very last morning, I don't even want to read it.
Read it, Robin. We all want to know.
The very last morning I was in my apartment will forever be etched into my brain. I was still in bed and my boyfriend was in the shower. I heard the shower cut off, and a couple minutes later, I felt what I thought was my boyfriend getting into bed with me. He put his arm over me, and when I turned to say good morning, no one was there.
Robin is clutching her non-existent pearls right now, just for those of you who are listening and not watching.
I screamed bloody murder and leapt out of bed. My boyfriend ran out of the bathroom to find me having a panic attack on the floor. We both could clearly see the outline of a person lying on the sheets. It was fucking horrifying. Once I was able to breathe, we quickly dressed, grabbed the last of my shit, and noped the fuck out. I never stepped foot in that apartment again. Fast forward to a few years later, I'm chatting with a neighbor, and he mentioned he had lived in the same apartments I had previously lived at too. I hadn't told him about any of the paranormal stuff at all. Then he begins to tell me about all the weird shit that happened in his place. I asked which apartment he had lived in, and when he said 108, I got covered in goosebumps. Ugh. He had moved into that place right after I had moved out and had very similar experiences. Holy shit, right? As if I needed any more confirmation that what happened was real. But I got it anyway.
That's hilarious.
Hope y'all enjoyed my story. Keep up the spooky work. Much love, Erica from Denton, Texas.
That was really, really, really good.
That was really good. Did you go to UNT? I bet you did. I mean, that's where Denton.
I'm just going to put this out there. What if, I mean, usually when we hear these things and I'm like, okay, this one sounds real. Like, this sounds like a real haunting. The next thing that I think is, what if it's someone who lives in the walls or in a crawl space that people don't know? Because there are stories like that where someone like lives in your closet and you don't know, or your crawl space. And I was thinking that a little bit, but then when she said you could see the impression or the depression of someone in the bed after she got off of it, I'm like, what if it's an invisible man? I don't know why that popped into my head, but it's the first time I ever thought, like, what if there are people who can go invisible and everyone just thinks they're ghosts?
Yeah. Like that episode of Buffy.
God. Every fucking time, man. It always comes back to Buffy.
I love Buffy. Do you not love Buffy?
Like, Buffy's okay.
Get
It's
out.
a lot of cheese. It's a lot of camp, and I know it's on purpose, and I know it works. It's just I can only take it in small doses sometimes.
Camp it up. Camp it up.
That movie's a bunch of cheese too.
I love that movie, though.
It's not bad. I'm not saying I hate it. It's just not great. Okay, let me rephrase that. It's good. It's just a lot of cheese. That's all. So I'm going to go ahead and move into my final homegrown horror of the evening. And this one's subject is forward, homegrown horror, red, feel free to share.
Why can't you just not do that?
Okay, the forward to me is just funny. I never do it, but I decided to do it. So it starts out like this. Hello. This is Smell Apple. I don't think that's your Christian name, but I like it. I had been hesitant to actually send an email as I wanted to catch up, and as I am sending my email. So there goes that excuse. A lot of folks have told us before, like, I want to see what sort of stuff you've gotten before I send my stuff, and I understand that. That said, send it whenever. Just go ahead and send it, and even if it's similar to another story we've heard before, as long as you're not copying, like, a story you found on Reddit, it just reinforces some of the things we've heard before. You know what I mean?
Met spooky friends, though, that were like, now that I've met you, I feel like I can send my story into you. Because I think
I trust you a little bit
there's
more
a
now.
level, there's a level of trust that has to be there because you are sharing something that's intimate that has happened to you.
Right.
And we totally understand that. That's why we're like going out there, meeting folks.
We're totally going to have some Vegas
saving
meetups
people, hunting things.
I hate you so much. For the month of February, sometime during the month of February. I want to do something where we can all meet up that's also free for everyone, unless we want to do like a movie where it's not too expensive, but then we don't get to talk to each other because we're all just sitting there watching something. We're going to figure something out, but I'm going to go ahead and get back to the email. So, my story was from when I was rather young, preteen or something in that range. I lived in a rather troubled home. My family had split, and I was trapped in the middle of a caustic custody battle, more appropriately, feud. That sucks. That's really, really hard on kids. I was having a good deal of trouble getting to sleep this night, tossing and turning and staring at the clock. I recall it was something like 1 a.m., and I turned to face the door to the hall. The house was silent, save for the soft click that seemed almost ever present. This I will address at the end, but I looked into the open door, and there was a massive shadow. The figure was tall, broad shoulders, and had such an amazing presence. Oddly, I was not frightened, merely intrigued. I stared at this figure, translucent and black, but the top was limed? I think it's rimmed. I think it's supposed to be rimmed with light, as if someone was holding a somewhat faint light at the back of someone's head. The light illuminated light hair, somewhere between a light brown and a red. I recall vaguely thinking the hair was slightly wavy. I recall this so clearly. I don't think I will ever forget the image. I can't imagine how you could forget something like that, because it would be, even if it's not scary, so shocking and jarring. Later that night, I believe around 4, sorry, not 3, that's hilarious. I want to know how you just stared at this thing. Like, what happened for those 3 hours where this thing was standing there? I sat up, feeling like I just should. I turned my head to look at the foot of my bed, and that same shadow was there. Again, I was not afraid, only curious. It was holding up its arm, and I remember a motion like a head being canted? Almost like it was examining me with some interest. It moved its hand again, down this time, and I laid back down to fall asleep. You are very steadfast if you see something like this, and you can just continue being like, that's interesting, and just go back to sleep. I think even if I wasn't terrified, I'd be far too curious to fall back asleep. Like, there's no way I would manage it. Which is funny because you were having trouble sleeping up until that moment. About 10 to 15 years later, I was sitting at the table with my grandmother, and we started to share spooky stories. I mentioned the shadow, and she gasped. She asked me about how it looked, and I explained the general size, how it almost filled the door, seemed strong, had wavy light red hair. I almost didn't make it through the end of that sentence. Good Lord. She said, with no small conviction, that it was my grandfather, her first husband, Red Martin. I was excited about that because I got to share something of an experience with her. It is something I will always recall. Mr. Martin passed on when my father was 16 or so. He had suffered an aneurysm that caused a drastic change of personality.
Oh, wow.
He underwent electric shock therapy, in parentheses, go medicine of the 70s. They do that again, by the way.
No, they
yes,
don't.
Yes, they do. And I feel as if that has been a contributing factor in his passing. As he passed away years before I was born, it was something remarkable to be able to meet him. Now for that small story I mentioned earlier, up there somewhere. All through my childhood, I heard a sound coming from the kitchen. As far as I could tell, it was the sound of the old seals of the refrigerator breaking as it opened, then closing again. I got up in the night and tried to sneak up on the sound. As you could expect, as soon as I got to the end of the hall to see the kitchen,
it would stop.
It stopped. Damn ghostly
Oh,
trolls.
my goodness.
It says hashtag life goals, hashtag death goals. Thank you so much for your cast and helping me through the hours of dull repetition grinding in World of Warcraft.
That's hilarious.
Smell Apple. Thank you for sending your story, Smell Apple. We really do appreciate it.
Crush those raids.
It says, P.S. Here's a picture of my open baby Sunna. I have no idea why he wanted to sit in the dryer. I actually don't have it attached to this email because it's gone through the editing process and come back, but we will look at the adorable omen baby. But that was really, really good. I really do appreciate that getting sent in. I don't know how you fell back asleep after seeing a giant shadow because there is no way I'd be able to manage that. So that was interesting.
Yeah.
Solid stuff.
So the next email is titled Omen Baby Story with Feel Good Vibes. I did this one last because I was like, we'll save the good vibes for the last one.
Good call.
And this one goes, hey, Robin and Adam. Hello.
Hello.
My name is Giselle, pronounced like Giselle, and I use he, him / his pronouns. I know how much you guys care about pronouncing things right and using proper pronouns, which I think is awesome. Yes.
I appreciate all of you that send those in. I also apologize vehemently to anyone that I
do it wrong.
Up.
If we say it wrong, it's because we make assumptions, which I know we shouldn't, and we should be using like they pronouns in that case. But if you guys are if not you guys, if you folks are able to add that in and make it a little easier for us, we don't want to offend anyone, and we want to make sure everyone feels loved and accepted and included. So
as that song says, she will be loved, but it should be he, she, they, and other will be loved.
I found you guys about a year ago on Spotify and look forward to listening to new episodes each week. Feel free to share this on the pod.
Thank you.
Thank you. So on to my story. Around December of last year, my dog Bubba passed away, which is unfortunate.
It's very sad.
Omen babies, fluffy family. I love them. Boom started off just like a Pixar movie with death at the beginning. Oh my gosh, okay. So it's like Up. Yep. Thank you.
The perfect marriage. Then she died.
Oh my gosh. I swear I cried watching Up the first time because I was like, what is this? Why would you do this to me?
That's hilarious.
Anyways, he was cute, little chihuahua looking mutt that we adopted from the shelter in 2005. I was 10 years old at the time, and he was the greatest thing in my life at the time. Bubba was such a well-behaved and kind pup. Sometimes I would let him sleep in my room, and instead of sleeping on his bed, he would jump up onto mine and curl up next to me, but in a really respectful way, which is nice. Some dogs have no, boundaries.
This is very true.
Sometimes our corgi will climb to the top of the bed and, sit on our heads in the morning.
It's cute when, she's being your alarm clock, but it's really annoying when she's being a dick, and you're like, get off of me.
A couple years later, we got another dog from a family friend who we named Mackie. My dad was the one who primarily took care of our two dogs, and as the years passed, I would spend less time playing with them or taking them for walks because I got caught up in my own life and got pretty selfish with my time. Fast forward to 2017, I noticed that Bubba was really starting to age and get weak. I decided that I would spend more time with him, but I hated how it took me so long to realize that I needed to do this for him. One of the last moments I had with him was when we went for a drive together. He curled up and fell asleep in the passenger seat. I could feel this really strong sense of peace and happiness as I watched him sleep, and it made me feel so content. He used to love car rides and sticking his head out like most dogs.
It's hilarious.
But I guess he was a little too weak at this point to do that for the whole ride. Oh, stop.
This is like that Happier video all over again. Robin's like, you got to watch the video for this song. And I was like, all right. And spoilers, it's about a dog's life.
I can't. This email is going to make me cry. Okay. A few weeks later, Bubba passed away and I felt horrible. I blamed myself for not taking good care of him and not spending enough time with him. It was a rough 2 weeks after his passing, but I think he came back to me to tell me that everything was okay. About 2 weeks after his death, this weird and totally annoying thing started happening. A bird would knock on my window nearly every morning between 8 and 9 a.m. I was on winter break at the time, so I just wanted to sleep in, but the damn bird wouldn't stop pecking. It would peck at my window for about an hour. That's annoying.
That is really annoying.
Which was super weird because this has never happened before. I told my cousin about this, and she said that it could be Bubba. I honestly believe that Bubba was giving me a wake-up call so that I could get off my lazy ass and get my day started. That's very cute. The knocking went on for about 2 weeks, but I didn't mind it anymore. It was still hard to get out of bed, but it was nice thinking that it was my dog trying to wake me up. It helped me cope with his death and all my feelings of regret. Fast forward to this morning, I start hearing pecking on my window again. It was kind of weird because it's been a long time since it's happened. I really want to sleep in, so I said out loud with a disgruntled voice, "Bubba, I promise I'll walk Mackie when I wake up." Ugh! Oh my goodness. And to my surprise, the pecking totally stopped. I continued to sleep and fulfilled my promise after waking up. Stop, I can't. Why did you make me read this one?
I don't read these. I don't know what they're about. I just pick them based off of length.
Oh my God. I believe that Bubba is still with us, checking up on me and my family every now and then. Bubba definitely woke my ass up to walk Mackie because I recently got super busy with 2 jobs, school, and my hobby, so I haven't had the time or energy to go for walks with Mackie. I'm lucky to have a little angel that is keeping me accountable. Here's to Bubba, which is currently my home screen.
Oh, that's super cute. That's a really good story.
That is a very good story. Also, goddamn feels.
I don't know. It's just really cool because I know a lot of people that have pets and animals, and it's so weird. Like, I follow Black Jaguar, White Tiger. I think that's what that Instagram account is called. And I've always been of the mindset that if a cat was big enough to eat you, it probably would. And watching that guy raise, like, giant animals to be full grown, he raises them from when they're super tiny to they're full grown. And he can play with, like, all of them. Like, they'll run up and it'll be a lion that on its hind legs is far taller than him, and it just hugs him and, like, licks his face. And it's just all these animals. And it kind of makes you realize, like, animals are really, really good creatures, and they can, like, have unconditional love for a human. Yeah. So we have dogs, and I always think about, like, their lifespan is probably 10 to 15 years, and it's, like, how sad it's going to be when they pass away. And anytime I think of stuff like that or think about my dogs from the past that have passed away, I always think about what my vet told me. And I talked about this before when we had to put our dog down. He told us, like, no people could have filled a dog's life with more love than you did for her entire life. And as sad as it is, like, to know that you have a pet that you could have taken care of, like, their life was perpetually filled with entertainment and love because of you, like, that's a pretty awesome thing. So it's as much as it's sad, like, it's also really cool that we get to do that.
All right. So thank you so much for this emotional, heart-wrenching story.
It's very good. We do appreciate it.
It's very good.
I had a friend who, when their dog passed away, their childhood pet, they didn't tell anyone. And, like, I went over there and, like, a couple of weeks after the fact, and I was like, "Where's Duke?" And they're like, "Duke passed away." And I was like, "What? Like, why didn't you tell anyone?" And they were just flat out like, "I couldn't talk about it. Like, I can't talk about it." Because it's very heart-wrenching. So we do appreciate sharing that experience with us. So yeah, I think that's just about everything that we have for Storytime episode 52, I believe this one was. So
oh man, I can't
that means
believe
we've done
how
a
many
year.
episodes.
We've done a year
Guys,
of Storytimes.
We have over 100 episodes.
Yeah, we've had over 100 episodes for a while.
Oh my goodness.
Yep.
That's incredible.
So thank you to everyone who has helped us sustain this long and grow the way we have. People who listen to the podcast, people who watch us live on youtube.com/scarish or twitch.tv/scarish podcast, everyone who donates, everyone who rates and reviews, everyone who supports us on Patreon, and everyone who just listens to the podcast. We appreciate every one of you, like, immeasurably. We can't tell you how much it means to us.
You guys make it fun. make it worth doing, and we couldn't be here without you. We love spending this night of the week with you guys. It's
Indeed.
great.
It's really, really the best night of the week for us. So if you guys haven't joined us for a live Scary-ish, we suggest you do, because it is really, really a good time. That said,
Don't
I
threaten
think
me with a good time.
I hate you so much. You're just all over those song titles, especially for Panic at the Disco now. But if you want to reach out to us with your stories, or if you just want to reach out to us and you don't want it to be shared on the podcast, you can do that as well. Email storytime@scarish.com. You can go to facebook.com/scarishpodcast and message us there. If you haven't gone to that website yet, the Facebook page, please go and click like. We're almost at 700 likes. We'd like to get to 1,000 at some point. 4 digits is going to be super cool. So if you want to message us, go there. You can also join our Scary Spooky Friends group, which is our Facebook group, and post there for some instant feedback, or just check out all the funny memes. Someone posted a meme there like, check out this really gross nipple belt. And within like 24 hours, it turned into a topic on the show, because we do listen to you guys and we see everything you post.
Yeah, we literally see everything you guys post. And admittedly, there's so many topics that have been inspired by things that you guys have posted or sent
really
us.
Has.
Or
we get really
or
good
any of that
feedback on the
stuff,
Black-Eyed Children episode, and that was a topic that was picked by our patrons.
Right. And right now, I have a new poll up that I just put up today for this week's episode. So if you guys want to help vote on this coming week's episode, I put up quite a few topics. It's open to any patrons that are our Choose Your Own Adventure tier and up.
Which is $3.
Which is $3 and up. So if you guys want to do that, head on over to patreon.com/scarishpodcast. Super quick to sign up. It's monthly donations. It helps us out a lot, gets us places.
And you can tell us what to do.
Apparently so.
So thank you so much one more time. Robin, if people wanted to do a one-time donation without signing up for monthly, where could they go?
If you go to ko-fi.com/scarishpodcast, you can do one-time donations, and all those donations will help us upgrade our studio setup, which is cool.
The other places you can reach out to us, you can go to our website, scarish.com, and click on Contact Us. Send us a form that way. You can do @ScarishPod for Twitter, @ScarishPodcast for Instagram. And if you want to join us on Discord, go to our website, scroll down, and on the right-hand side, you'll see a link for Discord. Just go ahead and click that, and it'll take care of it. ChessieCat98 just subscribed
Thank you so much
for the 5th month in a row with their Prime subscription. Just a reminder, if you have Amazon Prime, you have a free Twitch Prime account, which you can go sign up for, and you will get free $5. You can't redeem it yourself, but you can give it to someone else, which means you can give it to our channel. And if you don't, it doesn't roll over. Amazon basically says, oh, sweet, they forgot to give $5 of our money away, and we get to keep that. So anyone who has Amazon Prime, even if you don't watch us or have the time to watch us, go sign up. You can subscribe to the channel. It is free, and it gives us $5 a month.
Yeah,
which
twitch.amazon.com.
Go amazing. It's always it's like if an uncle was like, you can give this $5 to anyone you want. And you're like, yeah, but I don't like to go visit that uncle that often. You only have to do it once a month. So please let that be us. Thank you so much to everyone. We really appreciate all of you folks. I think that's just about everything. I can't think of anything else that I might have left out.
Sounds good.
So right on. Go ahead and take the sign out, Robin.
Keep on creeping on, and we'll see you guys later or talk to you guys later this week. We'll see you next week.
Bye.
Bye.